Hi, everyone. Great to be here, and thanks for the introduction, James. This is really one of the highlights of my year, this event. It's so great to be able to be back here in person and see everyone here. I've been coming to everyone. I was here at the 2013 event, and as James mentioned, I presented the Mobile Growth Stack at the 2014 event. That's kind of what I want to talk about today. Let's just see if my clicker's working. Maybe I need to turn it on. It's like, no, here it goes. Okay. So, before I get into the Mobile Growth Stack, quick introduction to feature. So, we're a mobile growth consultancy based in Berlin and now in New York as well. So we just opened our New York office about a month ago. We work with B2C apps, typically larger scale B2C apps where teams are looking to get a bit more systematic about mobile growth, and we can help them kind of plan and execute around some of those challenges. So in terms of the services that we offer, this is pretty much the breakdown. So we do a lot with organic acquisition and App Store optimization. We have a workshop on that later with Gabe and Moritz. Performance marketing, CRM, and a lot of other stuff besides. Particularly big focus this year on subscription optimization. So we work with the kind of brands that you see here. So they're typically either digital-first or mobile-first brands, or increasingly enterprise companies looking to kind of do digital transformation and mobile transformation in particular. So anyway, enough about feature. Actually, this is still the story of a feature. As I mentioned, and as James mentioned, I was here in 2014. That's me looking a little younger in the top left. I was here presenting the Mobile Growth Stack, the very first version of this framework, which I'll show you in a sec in case you're not familiar with it. But essentially, it's just my attempt to kind of bring together some of the different mobile marketing concepts into a sort of cohesive structure that people could use to kind of understand what was the option space for growing a mobile app, what are the levers for growing an app, and how to sort of use that to build as a tool for strategic planning. And so here you see some examples in the top right and bottom left of the Mobile Growth Stack in action. A guy from the CMO actually from Gram Games showed me this picture. He was very excited to show me how they were applying the Mobile Growth Stack at Gram Games to to basically drive the growth work that they were doing on their new games. And inspired by that, we actually started printing out our own posters that we could give away to people. So this is somebody at Otto Group on the bottom left here, also using the Growth Stack. And on the bottom right there, that's the kind of current version, the version that we released in 2017. So I've got a bigger version of that in a moment. But essentially, it's we're trying to kind of put everything on one page and be like a one-page cheat sheet for mobile growth. So we went a bit crazy with stacks after this, because the stack was actually super kind of popular in the industry. It went down very well. So since then, Moritz and Gabe developed the Aso Stack for App Store optimization. And we also have the App Store optimization stack. But today I want to talk about the Mobile Growth Stack. So this is what the current version that we've got live. So you might not recognize this version because we did a design update, which we kind of put out kind of quietly across all the stacks to kind of standardize them. This is basically the same version that we released more or less in 2017. So when I came to plan a talk for today, I thought, well, okay, it's about time. We haven't actually updated it in 3 years. We've been busy consulting and working with a whole bunch of exciting apps in the industry. Probably we've got some new insights, and also we see definitely some industry changes. It's probably about time that we updated the stack to provide the mobile marketing community with something which is a little bit more up to date and relevant. But I figured actually the 2017 stack, the reason that I hadn't updated it up until now was that it actually stood the test of time pretty well. It was pretty complete. As you can see, it's fairly comprehensive. And we really felt that actually, there wasn't too much that needed changing. So when I sat down to do this, I was like, okay, it's going to be a few tweaks here and there. Probably, we need to think about the iOS 14 changes, how that's affecting things. But yeah, as I got into it, after about 30 minutes of like whiteboarding, it was more like this. It's just realized that actually this is going to be a bigger project. So, a couple of days ago, I was up at like 4 in the morning, still like tinkering with the stack. I was debating a lot with Thomas Petit. A lot of you know Thomas. He was a great sparring partner on some of the changes that I was making, and definitely helped me to improve it. Also got some great input from some of the feature team as well. So anyway, this is what I came up with. This is the green stuff is what's kind of new or significantly different from last time, and I'm going to walk you through it in over the next 10 minutes. But as you can see, quite a lot has changed, and yeah, I hope that this is something which is going to be useful and helpful and still relevant for folks today who are looking to looking to grow mobile apps. So I'm going to talk you through the changes. So first of all, you might be surprised to see that I've now got brand right at the top. This is maybe a little bit controversial, right? Like brand is traditionally kind of sometimes regarded with some suspicion in the sort of data-driven marketing circles and growth circles because it's inherently a little bit unmeasurable sometimes. But what I've seen from working with mobile apps over the last 5 years at Feature, we've worked with probably over 100 apps. And we definitely see that the brand, I've got a bigger respect for brand, not just from brand marketing, but like the whole kind of concept of like building a strong brand identity and then expressing that cohesively through marketing, through product, through CRM, through every aspect of your product and your experience with the user. Brand counts for a lot, actually, and it's a multiplier and kind of a catalyst for a lot of your other exercises. We certainly see that, folks that have a strong brand, we're working with folks like Headspace, for example. They've got a really wonderful brand. I think great example of something that's really well executed across their marketing, across their, right through their product. And it definitely helps, helps them to grow because they get a lot of branded search, and this is true for any strong brand. If your brand is like building in brand equity over time, you're going to get a lot of branded search, which is more defensible. Your ads are going to convert better a lot of the time. You're going to have less trouble convincing users to pay. It's a big multiplier. So secondly, content. Now, content definitely not universally applicable to every app, but particularly when you think about subs, a lot of the changes that I've made in this version of the stack have got subscriptions in mind because we do really see that subscription is becoming the dominant business model. And particularly with stuff like subscriptions, it's really important to have constant refreshes, have new stuff on a monthly basis to actually give to your users and to keep them engaged over the long term. It's kind of a cornerstone of subscriber retention for a lot of apps. And when you think about content, you might think, well, this is just things like Spotify or Netflix or SoundCloud, streaming platforms. Yes, obviously they're super content-based. But actually there's more apps than you might think are actually very dependent on content and can really leverage that. So things like exercise, meditation, dieting, recipe apps, all of this kind of stuff has a lot of fresh content, and you can really leverage that. And I'd say even if your app even just has sort of some content, which is, kind of almost like a supporting feature, then you still want to think about that because it really has like a good multiplier right across like acquisition, engagement and retention, and monetization. So, if you've got content that's performing well in your app and you can see that through your analytics, then you should be using that content in your App Store presence and in your advertising, that can help you get new users in. Similarly, you want to engage users by recommending them content that you see is going to be a good fit for them. And of course, you also might want to surface that content or refer to it on your paywall as well to actually convert more users. And for sure, it's going to help subscribers keep coming around if you're using your data to inform maybe the roadmap on the future content that you're building. Okay, I'm going to speed up a bit because I've got a little bit more to get through. So you might wonder why I've taken channels out. Like in the previous version of the stack, if I just hop back to it, we had channels down at the bottom. Well, basically, there's a lot of space taken up with channels. And I figure that most people, certainly most people in this room, probably know what channels are likely to be useful for mobile marketing initiatives. I think there's definitely some value in listing them out separately, but they change often also quite a bit. You've got new channels popping up, others declining. So would mean that the stack gets out of date quicker by having these channels in sometimes. And secondly, just strategy is all about trade-offs. And in this case, it's a strategic marketing tool. And I figured that actually the trade-off that I wanted to make was to get a bit more space in this one page without cramming even more stuff in, and to put some new stuff in instead. So basically we took out channels, and instead we've got a whole new layer, strategic management. So again, we've worked with a lot of apps over the last 5 years, and one thing which I didn't really expect when we started out, when we started consulting apps and helping them, app publishers and helping them to apply the mobile growth stack, I didn't expect that actually strategic management would be a big part of the work that we would need to do in terms of informing and helping these management teams to really understand how to actually build and grow, build their growth strategy, which is and if we're helping them to apply the mobile growth stack, then it's really important that actually we pay attention to these things, which are actually core challenges for a lot of apps, including multi-billion-dollar companies that we've worked with who have really no idea how to do scenario planning because they don't have a growth model that they can use, like a quantitative growth model. So we have to build them one, and similarly, we see a lot of folks, even billion-dollar companies, struggling with coherent target setting in terms of how to benchmark and how to figure out what KPI targets they should be aiming for, how to make trade-off decisions with KPIs, all this kind of stuff. And finally, roadmaps, aligning product, tech engineering, marketing, and content in a cohesive, aligned roadmap so they're not all running at different paces, and you can actually do coordinated activities and launches and things like this. Super important, and we see a lot of companies struggling with it, so that's why they're in the stack. The tech layer, I think, is a bit more straightforward. We've definitely seen the rise of dedicated subscription enablers, subscription platforms like Purchasely, RevenueCat, Conversion, folks who are basically creating a whole new class of tools which can be really helpful in enabling people to implement subscriptions correctly and also to optimize their subscription revenue. Super important. Customer data platform, I think it's more important than ever to have a unified view of the customer, have proper data governance, and to acquire and engage users more effectively. And by the way, just like with everything in the stack, I'm not saying that you need to do all of these things or have all of these components. That's not what the stack's about. It's really about having an overview of everything that you might want to consider so that you can make strategic decisions and invest or divest in certain things over time. So just wanted to call that out in case people think that I'm saying, hey, you need to rush out and buy all of these bits of new tech. We also see, I think I didn't realize, back 5 years ago, how many folks would have an internal data warehouse, as well as, behavioral analytics from an Amplitude or a Mixpanel or something like this. But yeah, we do see that, increasingly, to do really cool stuff with data, it's very useful to have a data warehouse where you can bring in data, combine different data sources, and then do fun stuff like propensity modeling and stuff, which is where I'm going to end up at. So yeah, the analytics and insights layer, I've moved it down to the bottom of the stack so that it can also be then kind of divided by the area of the stack that it applies to. So on the left-hand side here, we've got acquisition, engagement and retention, and monetization, analytics and insights. So it's a bit more ordered. So there's a bit of ordered information in there. So yeah, added a few additional things. There's a couple that I want to really call out would be signal testing. With attribution becoming less precise, signal testing becomes even more important. Trying to understand what are the early signals of what's going to be a high-value user, so you can allocate your ad spend and reallocate your ad spend more effectively. And that goes kind of hand in hand with incrementality analysis and propensity scoring. I've created a whole new section for predictive modeling. We see this as major trend, actually, and a major opportunity. I think the apps that are really going to succeed in this next phase of mobile growth are going to be the ones that can really leverage their data more effectively, can measure the incremental uplift across all their activities, not just marketing spend, but also their CRM efforts, their product changes, all of these things, to be able to apply statistical models or predictive modeling to make smarter decisions, and increasingly on a more automated basis. So that's why this predictive modeling section gets a lot of attention. Propensity scoring really can apply to almost everything. Propensity to churn, propensity to buy, propensity to engage with a particular piece of content. Content recommendation being another thing. Just like predictive analytics is I think the new battleground for the tech vendors, but also the new opportunity for mobile growth marketers, whether you're building it in-house or buying it in. I think there's a lot of uplift to be gained there. Okay, so I'm almost out of time. I just wanted to say, this has been my stab at kind of updating the mobile growth stack and creating something which is more relevant for 2022 and beyond. But it's a work in progress. Like these frameworks are, they're never done. And I'd love to kind of have this conversation with everyone here. If you've got ideas, suggestions on how we can improve it and really make it something that the whole industry can use in the future, I would encourage you to come and join our Mobile Growth Stack Slack. It's a Slack community. We'd love to have you on there. Everyone's welcome. And yeah, we've got a few other resources that you can check out if you're interested in looking at our other stack frameworks or other stuff that we share. We really strongly believe that everybody in this community is learning all the time. We certainly don't know everything, but we're more than happy to share what we know and what we've learned, because I really strongly believe that the whole industry gets better if we're open and we share with each other. So thanks a lot. I'm not sure if we have time for any questions, but if we do, happy to take them. Otherwise, yeah, we're hiring. So if you would like to come and join our team, we'd love to have you. Oh yeah, we have a booth, by the way, outside, and a couple of workshops happening. Moritz and Gabe doing a workshop shortly, and Andy and Rinat doing a workshop on behavioral science at 12:20. Is that right? Yeah. Great. Thank you.